What's up, guys? It's a spent man coming to you from the beautiful North Country. Today I'm going to be talking about spent man sample ballot. You heard it right. I got a sample ballot coming out because I'm sure none of you have heard, but there's a little bit of an election going on Super Tuesday, November 8th, and it's time for the people of America and all of the states to bring down Thor's hammer of judgment. And that's what the idea is, theoretically anyway, right? Because judgment, or the idea that you could passively choose your leader and render judgment and say that government is doing either a good or a bad job, the idea that you'd get to do that passively and not have to bear any responsibility is kind of a faux pas. It's kind of not exactly true, but either way, we do get to participate in this really interesting tradition of democracy in America, if we want to, that is. And check out this beautiful view right here in the North Country. This is the Spent Man's Path, by the way. Check it out. So beautiful. Either way, back to judgment, right? So people that are judgmental, they really are judging themselves, right? They really want to kind of bring down someone else because they don't have the courage to govern themselves. They're always looking for a judge outside of themselves, an authority outside of themselves, to bring down the hammer of judgment on someone else for them, right? They don't want to rule themselves. So this is just my general theory on judgment. And although I'm not perfect, I am judgmental. I'm also working on it, right? So November 8th, we got a little bit of an election coming up, and I don't know about you, but I've been getting loads of junk mail in my mailbox, and I think the pressure chamber of American polarized dualistic politics is finally about to burst, because I think with people being stolen from by inflation so much, I think that the normal wedge issues, like abortion, for instance, I think they really don't carry as much weight as they have in the past. And I think politically they're kind of tired issues, and they're these issues that are, you know, basically what came first, the chicken or the egg, and it comes down to someone's opinion, and it's not really getting anywhere, especially if people are being harmed more and more by out of control money printing. And when you mess with people's money so much, they start to not really be as concerned with the ideological issues as much. And I think this is an awesome thing. So what is up with the Spent Man sample ballot? I advise to start how you think about your voting and how you think about your world from the second that you step outside of your door. So in your neighborhood, in your community, and then outward to the nation and the globe, because I think decentralization is happening, and federal politics, which is just turning into globalism, is becoming more and more irrelevant. And the regime that occupies Washington, D.C. is just, they're all out of control in their own special way. They all have their special flavor of tyranny. And so what I'm saying is, focus a lot more on your local races. I, for instance, am running for local office, and I'm gonna win. So if anyone is interested in stepping up into a leadership position, I also would encourage you to run for a local position and get involved, because if you wonder why all these forms of governance are so out of control or out of touch with the people, you should go and check them out. Go to local board meetings and things like that, and you'll see a lot of like 80-year-old people, and it's actually not exactly their fault that they're out of touch, because they actually are old and out of touch, and younger people just complain and refuse to get involved. So if you want to bring about change, get involved. That's my 2 cents anyway. But yeah, guys, excuse me. Focus on local races, focus on what's going on in your state, and don't support progressives. This is a problem. We have lots of property rights violations happening all the time, and people get set off. They get set on one another like rabid dogs or whatever, because people are so easily deceived by media, right? We have this false kind of corporatism or this false kind of free market thing going on in America, and it convinces people that we don't have a problem with our Federal Reserve system, and that all of our problems are coming from the private sector, which is really not true. The free market wants to bring people things that they want, and the government tries to not bring you what they want. And that's how it works. So there's people that have zero respect for private property. They don't understand what private property is. They don't understand that their own body is their private property, and they want to seize everyone's income, and they'll just tell people that they want to take things from rich people, yet they never do. They keep taking from the middle class, and it's really unfair. And if you believe in democracy and want to do something about it democratically, it would be to not vote for Democrats and not vote for any sort of progressive Marxist socialist clown. And some people watching this aren't going to like this, but a lot of people don't like to hear the truth. So there's one side of the fence that has a lot of problems, has a lot of warmongers, has a lot of tyrants themselves, the Republicans and the conservatives. But truthfully, Republicans and conservatives and libertarians, although libertarians don't really agree with anyone, which is great actually, actually do want to see a smaller government, or some of them want to, and less centralization, more decentralization, because decentralization lets municipalities and towns and states make decisions on their own based on what the people living in those places or their leadership actually want, right? So we saw decentralization a lot during the COVID takeover, and we saw some places that were complete hellholes, right? Like New York and California and all these liberal cities. And we saw some places that didn't want to rule over people, didn't want to forcefully vaccinate people and things like this, which brings me to these reproductive freedom type people, where I'm seeing all these signs about reproductive freedom by people that wanted to force vaccinate everyone a few months ago, and they really don't want to talk about it now. And there will be no amnesty on the COVID issue until some people have to pay the price for the atrocities they committed during the COVID era, which isn't even really over yet. It's just on pause for election season, because Democrats know how unpopular their tyranny is. So that's my sample ballot, guys. And for the record, I support medical freedom and people making their own choices on their own body, because someone's body is their own private property, and they have title and they have right to do with their body what they want. Even if I don't agree with it or you don't agree with it, it's not your property. So private property rights, get on board with it. Life, liberty, and property is on the ballot on November 8th. And you'd be right to vote in alignment with people that support your right to govern yourself and don't want to interfere in your private life. And unfortunately, this is not Democrats. This is not progressives. These are people that have been overtaken by an authoritarian spirit or dark entity or whatever. They've been taken over by evil, basically. And I have a little poem that I'm gonna read here by Emily Bronte, and it's part of my sample ballot, because your sample ballot is really in your heart. It's really in your soul, because people that understand natural law, they don't want to, or they understand that you don't want to bring harm on someone else because you don't want other people to harm you, right? It's live and let live, do no harm, give everyone their due, respect people's natural right to life, liberty, and property. And these are the values that people need to vote in alignment with, instead of trying to tyrannize over someone that you think you don't like for some arbitrary reason. And either way, I'm going to end with this poem by Emily Bronte, the old Stoic, because the nation states of America were inspired by Stoicism and classical culture, ancient Greece, ancient Egypt. All these awesome, rich traditions were what inspired people like Thomas Jefferson in the beginnings of America and the decentralized nation states that were supposed to be America. But either way, here's my poem, guys, The Old Stoic by Emily Bronte, and I'll show it to you too, so check it out. Riches I hold in light esteem, and love I laugh to scorn, and lust of fame was but a dream that vanquished with the morn. And if I pray, the only prayer that moves my lips for me is, leave the heart that I now bear and give me liberty. Yes, as my swift days near their goal, 'tis all that I implore, in life and death a chainless soul with courage to endure. So that, check out Chappie. Chappie likes it. He's an old Stoic. Yeah, buddy. So that's what I leave you with, guys. The Old Stoic by Emily Bronte. And that is my sample ballot. It's living free in your heart and in your mind, embracing freedom, and trying to get rid of judgment and envy and all these nasty emotions that can overtake us, and trying to attain that chainless soul with courage to endure, as Emily Bronte said in the early 1800s. And that is it, guys, from the beautiful North Country. This has been the Spent Man with my sample ballot for the chainless soul, for life, liberty, and property. Yeah, buddy. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Bye-bye.